So we need to talk about Kiss of Life yet again. If you haven't heard yet, girl group Kiss of Life came under fire recently for two members, Natty and Belle, pretending to kiss on the stage at Waterbomb. And now people are accusing them of queerbaiting their fans. But are they really queerbaiting? No, the answer is no. And as a queer person myself, I'm going to tell you exactly why, because people claiming that real people are queerbaiting pisses me off so much. So prepare to get educated a little bit. Hi, I'm Melody. If you're new around here, if you're not new, then you already know who I am. I usually react to Binny content. Sometimes I react to K-pop stuff. Even sometimes I talk about certain dramas happening in the K-pop world. So if all that sounds interesting to you, you can go ahead and subscribe down below. So what even is queerbaiting? Well, queerbaiting is a term that has been around since the early 2010s when fan discussions online became more cognizant of things like queer representation in media. However, it has been noticed and discussed in fan spaces, particularly in the LGBTQ plus community, since about the 1970s. Queerbaiting is used, quote, to describe certain creative and marketing practices, often related to a work of fiction, that seemingly hint at but do not depict same-sex romance or other LGBTQ plus representation, end quote. It can also mean that marketing teams talk about the movie or the book or whatever as if it was inclusive, but then only have an unnamed character in the background doing something gay for like 1 second. Some famous examples of movie and TV show series with queerbaiting in them include Avengers, Star Wars, Supergirl, Captain America, Thor, Black Panther, Riverdale, and Sherlock. You'll notice that most of these are Disney properties. Some of these examples I would say are actually like half baits. Sometimes intense fandoms want certain characters to be queer, and when they aren't, the fans get upset and claim that there's been queerbaiting. This isn't true queerbaiting, but it can be upsetting for queer fans who would love to see more queer rep on TV or in movies, and I can't really blame them for that. Additionally, we have examples of what some fans may call queerbaiting, but actually aren't. So now that we know what queerbaiting means, we're going to play a little game that I have titled, Is It Queerbaiting? Which will help us decide if what Belle and Natty were doing was indeed queerbaiting. I'm going to tell you some examples of situations and people who have deemed to be queerbaiters and ask you if it's queerbaiting. Keep a tally, yes or no, while you're watching this video, and keep your scores for the end, okay? So for our first contestant, we have musical artist Harry Styles. Now, Harry's style has been called out for quote unquote appropriating queer culture because he often dresses in skirts, dresses, or more feminine aligned attire. Harry, for his part, has never publicly named his sexuality and has only publicly dated women. Now, put in your votes. Is this queerbaiting? No, this is not queerbaiting. It could be problematic if Harry is only dressing this way to appeal to his queer fans. I don't know if he's doing that or not. It seems like he just generally likes the style and so dresses that way. Next up, we have Taylor Swift. Taylor has certain fans called gaylers who believe that Taylor is gay because of her close relationships with some of her female friends. And she only dates men as a cover to protect her career. Taylor has also been a supporter of the LGBTQ plus community in the past with her 2019 music video for her song You Need to Calm Down, which prominently features gays, drag artists, and trans people. So again, it's time to vote. Is it queerbaiting? No, again, it's not. First of all, Taylor Swift is a billionaire, so I don't think she has to pretend to be straight in order to protect her career. It's not like if she came out as queer tomorrow, she'd be on the street, which the same can't be said for a large portion of the queer community itself. Secondly, she has, like Harry Styles, only publicly dated members of her opposite sex. Taylor has also publicly criticized those who speculate about her sexuality in the intro to her song 1989, Taylor's Version. She responded by calling out, quote, the buzzed about relationships at the core of gaylerism as female friendships, and decrying the ways fans sensualized and sexualized them, end quote. Now for our third contestant, we have author Becky Albertalli. Author of books such as the one that was turned into a movie, Simon versus the Homo sapien Agenda, aka Love Simon, Becky Albertalli was accused of queerbaiting in 2020 by online trolls. This caused her so much anxiety that she felt like she was being forced to come out and did come out as bisexual. People claimed that Becky was writing books about queer people without actually being queer herself. And fellow YouTuber Savy Writes Books made a great video on the subject that goes way more in depth on what happened and actually interviews Becky herself about the situation. I'll link that somewhere if you haven't watched it yet. I do highly recommend it. But now it is time again to ask, is it queerbaiting? Nope, no, it's not queerbaiting yet again. We know the importance of own voices, specifically in the book community, but when has it ever hurt anyone to have a non queer person write a sensitive and some would argue accurate representation of many queer people's experiences? I would say that it hasn't. And in my opinion, yet again, it is just as bad to support, say, a transphobic author who uses all of their money to support anti trans legislation as it is to force an author to come out when they are not ready to. So, again, no, someone writing queer media while not making their sexuality public is not queerbaiting. And for our last contestant, we have Kit Connor, actor of bisexual character Nick Nelson from the highly acclaimed Netflix series Heartstopper. Kit was accused of queerbaiting fans because he was seemingly straight, aka he hadn't made his sexuality publicly known. Kit then, similar to our third contestant, felt compelled to also come out because of the stress. The actors of the recent hit show Heated Rivalry have also been accused of queerbaiting in this same way because some of them are not making their sexuality public. So, is it queerbaiting? Again, no, it's not. And it's actually illegal to ask someone their sexuality before hiring them for a job, whether that's for acting or for anything else. Also, for as long as a movie camera has existed, queer people have been playing straight roles, but people don't complain about the authenticity of that. So that concludes our game. How'd y'all do? Did you keep your score? I don't have anything for you to win except that, yay, you understand what queerbaiting means and you have great media literacy. So high five to you. But if you didn't do so well on your guessing, I'm going to tell you something. As your older queer aunt on the internet, I'm going to say this one time and one time only. I'm also not going to hold your hand because I don't know where you've been. So listen carefully. So, yeah, come here. Come here. Yeah, a little closer. Repeat after me. Real people cannot queerbait. It is a term to describe media, not real people. Okay? Okay. Now, with that out of the way, can a marketing team or a company manager or what have you make K-pop idols, for example, seem really close to each other in order to bring in more possibly queer fans? Sure, maybe. For now, I'd just call it a slimy marketing tactic, which the idols themselves most likely have no control over, especially if they are very early in their careers. However, we have seen this sort of thing happen in K-pop specifically with Stray Kids Hyunjin and Felix. While we don't know if it was the management making them do this or they were just simply close, they were once very close to each other, and fans speculated that they might be in a relationship. In fact, the pressure from the rumors was so intense that they now seem not to be quite as close as they once were. And even before this, if you're an ancient user of the internet like myself, you might know of British YouTubers Dan Howell and Phil Lester, known together as Dan and Phil. While they recently revealed their relationship to fans, they both have said in the past, and particularly Dan has said, that the intense speculation from their fans about their sexuality and their relationship made them not want to make videos together anymore. Sometimes rumors of someone being gay can be true, but more often than not, it is just parasocial fans wanting to misplace their desires onto somebody else. Maybe they can't come out safely, so it feels nice to be able to speculate about somebody else's sexuality, or it feels like justification to pressure someone seemingly more privileged than them to come out. Or maybe they are validly frustrated with the lack of queer representation in certain media like K-pop. But for your information, K-pop does have out queer idols who you can go and support with all that energy that you're using to claim that others are queer baiting. I made a whole video about it, which I'll again link somewhere. This all brings us back to Kiss of Life. So were Natty and Belle queerbaiting? No, they were just pretending to do a little kiss on stage as they were probably feeling playful or whatever. Oh, if I had a nickel for every time that I was a little handsy with a female friend before I even knew I was queer, I'd be one rich queer person, that's for sure. But was I ever accused of queerbaiting for doing that? No. First of all, that term didn't exist when I was in school, but also because, say it with me, real people can't queerbait. That's right. This whole situation actually reminded me of another time when female musical artists kissed on stage. Yeah, I'm old enough to remember when Madonna kissed both Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera. Are any of these three women out as queer? Well, kind of only Madonna, but the kiss was celebrated at the time for how horny it made straight men. This kiss was just for attention as far as we know, which isn't a great thing in my opinion. I don't know if it was set up by their management or, if Madonna, Britney, and Christina just felt like in the moment it would be a good thing to do. But I highly doubt that they were trying to get more queer people to tune into the VMAs. They didn't tease it or anything before the fact because it was a live show. So it's not great, but again, it was just a way in the early 2000s to get people talking about something. Do I think Natty and Belle are actually queer? Who cares? And frankly, it's not my or anyone else's business if they are. Do I think that they were just feeling it in the moment to do a little air kiss? Yeah. Maybe their managers made them do it to get more press, which is a big maybe, but I kind of doubt that because there's also something I haven't mentioned yet, which is a little thing in South Korea called skinship. Skinship describes being physically close, like consensually holding hands, hugging, or giving massages, and is usually not frowned upon in Korean society as a whole, even though gay marriage is still illegal there and society at large is highly misogynistic and queerphobic, which is why I highly doubt that a manager made them do this because it would ruin their reputations in South Korea, where the Waterbomb concert was being held. I mean, come on, we've seen what happens to idols when they are rumored to be dating somebody of the opposite sex. Can you imagine if somebody had credible gay dating rumors? So, to sum things up, it's highly likely, again, that Natty and Belle were just having fun. Again, say it with me, real people can't queerbait. That's right, you're getting it. And I don't think, especially those of us in the queer community are right to speculate on anyone's sexuality or say that they are queerbaiting when they are clearly just having a fun moment. And I may regret this, but go ahead and let me know your opinions in the comments. What do you feel when real people are accused of queerbaiting? Do you agree with me or not? Anyways, I'm Melody, and I'm Melody. Thank you for joining me today while I ranted about this. I just needed to be a little bit angry about this today because forcing people to come out is never okay. And I'm not even a fan of Kiss of Life anymore. I used to be before their whole birthday live fiasco, which I also made a video on. But yeah, I say all this as a third party, just trying to educate y'all about what queerbaiting actually is, how to use it in its correct context, and again, that real people can't queerbait. Good job. Yeah, people need to learn the definitions for things before running all over the internet and spreading gossip. It just makes me tired. So I'm going to go take a nap. Bye.